protect the Long Beach Los Cerritos wetlands. Check them out on Facebook. My name is Gina Belafonte. Greetings. I'm so excited to see so many of you here this morning, back once again to let our voices be heard, and this year to let our vote ring clear and true. We are here to let this administration know, and all administrations and people of divisiveness, that time is up. We will not live in fear. We will continue to worship as we choose. We will continue to love who we choose. We will speak freely, for it is our right. And we will continue to rise up and shine a light on those most marginalized in our communities until we find a way forward for real, true equity and equality. We want a real DREAM Act. We want at least $15 an hour and equal pay. We want free health care for all. We want a free and quality education for our children. Let our votes be heard. And we know our vote matters, as we saw most recently. The sector of our community that showed up to make their voices heard and their vote matter were Black women. We will no longer be ignored. And if you want to remain in office, you will need to answer to us and meet our demands. So let's keep knocking on doors, keep speaking to policymakers, and get them to hear our voice. But most importantly, in this democracy, our vote. And a perfect example of the will of our vote, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, Hilda Solis.
Right, let's hear it for Gina Belafonte and for the Women's March. Buenos días a todos. Good morning, Los Angeles. I am so proud to join all of you once again for the second annual Women's March here in Los Angeles. Today we celebrate our community, our shared values, and our contributions that all of us make every single day to this society. After all, our diversity is not only our strength, but it makes us unique. It makes us Americans. Today we take a hard look at what we have endured this past year. All that value, diversity, family, equality, fairness, these ideals have been challenged, attacked, and undermined by this new administration. And it has to stop. I believe in a society where everyone can count on good health care, reproductive rights, a good job, safety, civil rights, gender equity, and that is the very foundation of what our country is made up of. Let us not forget our values. These are Los Angeles values, and they are Californian values, and we know that there are people who want to take away those trusted and treasured values. And I'm encouraged by all the voices that I hear every day at the Board of Supervisors and across the country from millions of women, people of color, people who feel oppressed or being taken advantage of. We know that we must stop those speaking out against us. And we must say, we will speak out against hate, against disrespect, against harassment, and against sexual assault. Women are finished. Staying silent. Women are finished. Staying silent. Say it. Women are finished. Staying silent. I encourage all of you to speak out against sexual harassment, whether it happens in the fields, in a boardroom, a movie set, the halls of Congress or in our state legislature, you can fight back against sexual harassment and assault by speaking up and sharing your story. I know that it often seems like Washington doesn't hear you, but here in LA County, know that we have your back. I am so proud of all the residents of our great county, the 10 million people that we represent, and the great state of California. I'm so happy so many of you have stepped up and have come to show your power. And today, more than ever, we know that we have to work together as a unified force. So don't forget today to sign up to register to vote, because your vote is your voice. And we must let those people in Washington and other parts of the country understand that we will not sit back and take it anymore. And I ask you to support progressive candidates. Let's take the House back in Washington. Let's take the Senate back. And let's take that big White House back. So vote, vote, vote. I want to say unas palabras brevemente en español. That I want to say, estoy muy orgullosa de estar aquí con todos ustedes. Es un placer ver tanta gente de tantas diferentes culturas, hombres, mujeres, abuelitos, tías, primos, todos que están aquí juntos, unidos para pelear esta administración de Trump que nos quiere negar nuestros derechos de humanidad, de votación, de inmigración, y para decidir que nosotros estamos con los estudiantes de DACA. We are with the dreamers. Deben de saber que en el condado de Los Ángeles, la mesa directiva del condado, estamos con ustedes. Vamos a pelear. Nosotros tenemos todo el poder porque ustedes nos han dado ese muy orgulloso responsabilidad. Muchas gracias. Felicidades. Marcha, sí se puede. Yes, we can.
Sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede. Muchas gracias. Supervisor Solis, thank you so much. I'd like to bring to the stage a friend, a freedom fighter, a woman who grabs back. Please welcome Frances Fisher.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls is an epidemic that has cost thousands of Native lives. There has never been a formal inquiry into this epidemic. There are no statistics available on how many mothers, aunties, grandmothers, sisters, and daughters are missing, trafficked, abused, raped, and murdered. The purpose of colonization is to exterminate Native peoples. Inaction, lack of police accountability, and systemic lack of care about Indigenous people keeps this epidemic spreading. As the Me Too and Time's Up movements shine a light, we must now honor our Indigenous sisters. Legislation must give agency to the families victimized by the epidemic, and we need to start treating the causes, not just the symptoms. Energy extraction is one of the causes of harm to Indigenous women. Man camps, where transient male laborers are housed, steal Native women. The prison pipeline system that Red Fawn is at risk of going missing into. Through mysterious circumstances, Misty Upham, and the police inaction that keeps women's lives in limbo, like Olivia Lone Bear, or by the attacks by the Dakota Access ETP, backed by police departments and mercenaries like Tiger Swan that attack Native women and men on the front lines, standing against the destruction of Mother Earth, like Susie Desba. She's the lead plaintiff on a class action lawsuit seeking justice for the night attack at Standing Rock, November 20th, 2016, when police-induced hypothermia affected more than 150 people who were sprayed with chemicals and water in sub-freezing conditions. shot with concussion grenades and rubber bullets that blew apart the arm of Sofia Wilansky and hit Susie directly in the eye. I was there. I saw this. This is Susie Despa. I am proud to call her my friend, and she is an ally to Native women everywhere around the world.
I tell you what, let's switch spots. Because I need to watch.
Good morning, Los Angeles Women's March. I'm honored to be here and spend this wonderful day with you. And as I stand here, I'm seeing such a diverse group of women. The unity and the solidarity is amazing. As a Native woman and a mother, we all have instincts to protect our life and the life of our future generations to come. Life for all living creatures, plants, and of course our Miniwachoni, To'eina, agua es vida, water is life. And this means protecting life at all costs and dealing with the good and the bad that comes with it. What happened November 20th that Francis mentioned is true. Morgan County Sheriff's Departments and other law enforcement agencies attacked us with over-aggressive, excessive force and using the very water that we came to defend and protect against us. The relatives from all over the world came to save this water, brought their prayers and their medicines. Despite those evil tactics, the strength and the spirits of our people rised up. Now our voices are growing stronger, and with this great strength, myself and hundreds of others are fighting back on a new front line in North Dakota Federal Court. We need your help by supporting Water Protectors Legal Collective, who is spearheading this lawsuit, Dundon versus Kirchmeier, and keeping us in the public's eye. Another epidemic that's very dear to me is our murdered and missing Indigenous women that are disappearing at a very alarming high rate. The Savannah Act isn't strong enough, and James McCain's Survive Act only seeks to fund more police, the very police who are responsible for making Native Americans some of the highest racial group killed for an 11-year streak recently. Lack of statistics about our missing, and so many cases are going unheard or not reported, and you are seeing that our Indigenous women are currently in a silent genocide. Please support initiatives like Navajo Nation Missing Persons, Search for Olivia Lombard, Idle No More, Justice for Native Women. This system may be failing Indigenous women, but not very much longer. We will not back down, and at this time we need all of our allies at our side more than ever. Thank you. And one last thing, I want to say justice for Red Fawn.
One mother, one planet, one earth, which we share with so many different diverse communities. Please welcome Filipino Workers Center of Southern California and Speaker Aquilina Soriano Versosa.
Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat! Good morning! My name is Aquilina Soriano Versosa, and I am the director of the Filipino Workers Center here in Southern California. Mabuhay! I am also the president of a National Domestic Workers Alliance, which is a part of the growing national and international movement for domestic workers. And me and my sisters here are here to bring you a message from this growing movement. We have strong Filipino caregivers who are reaching out, who are joining and standing with all of you here to stand for the rights of all women, to stand for the rights of all of our families. In the 1930s, we were excluded from protections, from the basic labor protections of the FSLA. We were excluded along with the farmers who worked in the fields because of that legacy of slavery. The South did not want to give rights to those who were newly freed. And today, domestic workers are also immigrants, care caring for some of the most important things in our society. Our children, our elders, our houses, and we are holding up the society with this important service that we do. And we are no longer going to be behind closed doors. We are stepping out into the streets with you so that we can fight and take back our democracy. We want to remind you that we are suffering now as a nation from this acute crisis of an incompetent and narcissistic man and a Congress that is dead set on punishing and blaming immigrants and people of color and giving more wealth to the 1%. But we are also suffering from an ongoing chronic crisis of inequality in this country. We still have a growing gap of those who are very, very wealthy and all of the 99% else. And we must not only fight to change what happened last November in 2016. We must shatter the norms of privilege in this country so that we can bring true equality for all. There are domestic workers still working for less than $3 an hour in this city right now. And that is not okay.
Guys.
There are restaurant workers that are working for less than $3 a day in New York. We are the richest country in the world, but we are not sharing this wealth with all of us. We need to build this movement and inclusiveness for all of us. And this 2018, we as domestic workers, we have learned to fight. We have won our California Domestic Workers Bill of Rights. We have won a Bill of Rights in states across the nation. And now we're here to fight for all of us in 2018. We are going to take back the midterm elections, right? And everyone can vote, but voting is not enough. And even if you don't have the legal right to vote, all of us here, we can vote with our feet, we can vote with our mouths. As an immigrant with no right to vote, I can bring 10 other people to the voting polls. I can go out and I can phone bank. I can go out to a swing state and I can canvass. I can use all of my body to make sure that we bring equality back to this country. So in 2018, they are going to hear our voice, hear our vote. Laban. Laban means to fight in Tagalog. Can I hear you all say that? Laban. So hear our voice, hear our vote. Laban. Thank you.
Laban. Thank you so much to the Filipino Workers Center of Southern California. Moving right along. I see crowds are coming. The streets are getting filled. This is so amazing. Can we please give a great round of applause to all of the volunteers who helped to make this happen. To all those who are working today in service to protect us and make sure we are safe. Thank you. And also, please, let's hear it for the co-chairs of the Women's March, Emiliana Guareca and Dina Katz, for coming out once again and organizing us and bringing us together and giving us a platform for the community to speak to our issues and our need. Now I'd like to welcome California Assembly Speaker and Speaker Pro Tem Anthony Rendon and Laura Friedman. Joining them on the stage, Assembly Member Richard Bloom, Assembly Member Wendy Carrillo, and Assembly Member Blanca Rubio. And Assembly Member Cristina Garcia.
Yeah.
Good morning. It is great to be with you once again. Last year we came here with a fear of the unknown. Today we come with the fear of the known. We have seen how this administration has systematically torn apart this country, whether it's environmental regulations, worker protections, or women's rights. I am so proud to be joined by the members of our caucus behind us, people who fight every day for you and for Californians so we can show them that California is charting a viable alternative. Please welcome Assemblymember Laura Friedman.
Hello, women. I was with you here last year, and a lot's happened in this year. Since we raised our voices, the federal government has declared war on us. The federal government has declared war on all marginalized people in this country because they're bullies and they only pick fights that they think they can win. They are rolling back protections against racial discrimination. They are rolling back protections and hard-fought gains for our LGBT community. They are rolling back environmental protections. And they are rolling back protections that protect our bodies and our reproductive rights. But you know what? We are not weak, we are strong. That's right. Women around the world are raising their voices. Women who have been subjected to harassment and discrimination in the workplace are bravely breaking their silence. And they are being supported for the first time ever. You know, I come from the corporate world. I come from a world where women were expected to crawl over each other and competed against each other for 1 or 2 seats at the table. Well, you know what? The days where we wait for men to invite us to the table are over. We are building our own table. And this time, we're going to hoist our sisters up on our shoulders, and we will reach down and pull our sisters up to that table. And yet, we still have people who say, what's wrong with them? What's the problem? And today we say, pay us more, grope us less. Pay us more, grope us less. We are women. We give birth. We nurture. We educate. We work. We organize. We march. We run for office. We vote. And we govern. And we win. And this day we are marching to City Hall. But in June and in November, we are marching to the ballot box, and we are taking this nation back.
Alrighty. How we doing? Good. Awesome sauce. Our voice is being heard. Our votes are being heard, but we need to really let them hear us in 2018.
Yes.
There's much to do.
Already on it.
We will not stand for hate in any form or fashion. I want to bring to the stage Ani Zonneveld from Muslims for Progressive Values. Please give her a warm welcome.
Hi everyone. What's up, Los Angeles? My name is Ani Zonneveld, and I run the organization Muslims for Progressive Values. Yeah, you heard me right, Muslim, the M word. I'm also a feminist, which makes me a Muslim feminist. I challenge human rights abuses in the name of Sharia law at the community level and at the United Nations. And you know what? The fight for women's rights, for LGBTQI rights, for freedom of expression, for freedom of and from religion and belief in America is starting to look a lot like the Muslim world. Discrimination in the name of religion. 2 days ago, did you know the Health and Human Services just enabled medical providers to refuse, I repeat, to refuse to provide care based on religious objections, meaning women's reproductive rights, women's reproductive needs, LGBTQI on the hook. We have seen our legislators at the state and federal level write legislations based on their interpretation of the Bible. Tell me, how is this any different than Sharia law? We are not Saudi Arabia. We don't live in a theocracy. It is simply un-American. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to vote these traitors out. What are we going to do? Vote them out! Vote them out! What are you going to do? Vote them out! Vote them out! Did you know the American Constitution does not, I repeat, does not protect women's rights? That is why legislators get into the office, they legislate the most backward, misogynistic laws. So, unless Congress passes Equal Rights Amendment protecting women's rights, what are you going to do?
Vote them out!
Vote them out! Did you know that in California, as Californians, you should know this, a child, even 10 years old, can be married off by force by their parents if they get the right judge? Unless all Californian legislators listen, legislators of California, listen up. Unless you raise the age of children for all children to 18, what are you going to do? Vote them out! Unless legislators criminalize female genital mutilation and cutting, what are you going to do? Vote them out! Now you know what you're going to do in every level of elections, whether it be city, municipality, state, federal. I mean, every election, you got to be out there and you are going to do what? Vote them out! And while you march out today, I want here to chant. I want to hear you chant. Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out!
Vote them out! Thank you. And on that note, I want to say that no matter who takes this stage today or who takes the stage later today, we, or at least I, want to say that I am for single-payer health care and SB 562 must pass. We must let all of our elected officials know at the voting booths how we feel.
Okay, guys, can you make a path and let him go?
Please now welcome California Assemblywomen's Caucus Chair Cristina Garcia, joined by Assembly Member Wendy Carrillo and Blanca Rubio.
Buenos dias! I have the pleasure and the privilege of being the chairwoman for the Legislative Women's Caucus, and I get to work with 27 amazing women on a daily basis in the Capitol. And while 27 sounds like a great number, it's actually a really shitty number because we are only 22% of the legislature. So I hope when you're voting them out, you're voting women in. I have a potty mouth, so I want to apologize. I'm just going to warn you. I was here with all of you last year, and since then I've woken up every morning saying, what the fuck? And this morning was not any different. Trump and the Republicans in Congress are a nightmare. But let me tell them that we are their biggest nightmare, and come 2018, their nightmare is going to become a reality, and we're voting them out. But they are not our only nightmare, ladies. We have been oppressed by men all our life, and time's up. And so I hope you are going to vote them out and vote women in at every level of government. Because here's a reality check. And I hope the power you have today doesn't end today, it doesn't end in November or June. If I pick up every vacancy between now and 2020 in the state legislature, I still will not get to parity in the legislature. And so I hope the movement and the energy you feel today carries us through past 2020. Because the best way to ensure that no one grabs my ass anymore, the best way to ensure that you're not assaulted at work anymore, the best way to ensure that our women who are working in the hotels, in the garment industry, in the restaurant industry, our farm working women, our blue collar women who have the least voice, are protected and no longer assaulted, is to make sure we have parity in the legislature, parity on the boards, and parity everywhere. This is about power. So the amazing power you have here, and there's a lot of power here and across the nation today, is the power I want you to harness every damn day when you wake up and say enough, ya basta. Vote them out and vote women in, and it's time that we take our place at the table. Now I'm a politician, so here's my selfish ask. If you were born with a uterus, California tells you that's still a luxury. Be pissed off about that. Make a call to the legislature and tell them that it's time to end the tax on our periods. It's time to remove the tax on menstrual products. Unfortunately, that bill died this week. I'm gonna go for a third time, and I hope third time's a charm. And so I need your power to make it loud and clear that we want that now. I want it loud and clear that my body, my choice, and I want it clear about what consent is. And I do not, if I asked you to have sex with me with a condom, I expect you to keep it on unless I give you permission. So I'm going to continue to fight against stealthing, and I'm going to continue to talk about consent out there. And I hope that you guys also raise your voice on that. And finally, for all of our brave sisters out there who have shared their Me Too stories, thank you. We should not have to be on your shoulders to make this change. But thank you, because your voices are giving us the power to bring down the patriarchy and protect our sisters. And for our future generations, I want them to be safe. I want them to have better. So we're here for them. But we're also here for ourselves, because I'll be damned if in my lifetime I continue to live under the patriarchy we live in today. So keep fighting. Thank you all for your voices. Vote them out and vote women in. Thank you.
We are here today demonstrating how powerful we are in peaceful protest. It is important that we always follow nonviolent protest and nonviolent action. And I would like to bring to the stage Patty Giggins with Peace Over Violence.
Good morning, Los Angeles! I'm Patty Giggins, Executive Director at Peace Over Violence, a sexual assault and domestic violence center that started over 4 decades right here in Los Angeles. Up with me here on the stage are staff and volunteers and survivors. Voices Over Violence. More brave Me Too's influencing change. These women up here are the voices of on the other end of the phone, the hotline, when you call POV's 24-hour crisis line for assistance if you have been sexually harassed, abused, assaulted, or raped. After more than 4 decades of working to end sexual and domestic violence, we are inspired to continue by the current outpouring of support for survivors and the demand for systemic change. No woman wants to live in a rape culture, and we want it to end now. I'm going to say that again. No woman wants to live in rape culture, and we want it to end now. When do we want it to end? Now! After all the headlines and hashtags, the who's next and what's next, we get back to work. We continue to be in the struggle. We continue to fight to bring the marginalized to the center and to include the forgotten and the left out, the silenced and the unbelieved. We are committed to preventing violence from happening in the first place, through organizing, education, and the dismantling of rape culture. Headlines don't end violence, actions do. Tweets don't end violence, people do. You do, we do. Take action, use your voice and vote. Know what you stand for, who you stand with, and who you stand up for. Today, we march for rape survivors who are not yet believed. We march for the end of sexual harassment in every workplace, in every industry. We march for Muslims targeted for their religion. We march because Black Lives Matter. We march for the honoring of native lands. We march and we vote for health care that is affordable, portable, and life-affirming. We vote for the right to choose. We vote for the separation of church and state. We vote for the rights of LGBTQ people, trans safety, and marriage equality. And we vote for immigrants no longer living in fear.
No wall!
Democracy demands that we pay attention. Compassion invites us to connect. Our voices, our stories, our votes cause change. Let's make a difference. Let's vote over violence.
Thank you. Patty Giggins with Peace Over Violence. I see a lot of pussy hats out there. This is so awesome. Please welcome to the stage, Jana Zweiman, Pussy Hat Project.
Good morning. My name is Jana Zweiman, and I'm co-creator and founder of Pussy Hat Project. Last year, I was unable to be at the Women's March because of my disability. The same disability inspired me to create Pussy Hat Project. Is this good? Okay. I watched from a window above the square, and it was amazing to see so many activists out here like today, and I felt like I was a part of it all. It's an honor to be here. I think the organizers and everyone who's spoken up in countless ways, not just at the first Women's March, but over and over again in the past year. We're people of all ages, gender expressions, sexual preferences, races, faiths, abilities, and opinions. We're here today rallying. We are at home cheering us on. We're knitting pussy hats and sharing with the world what issues are important to us. We're registering to vote, helping others get to the polls, lobbying our representatives, and running for office ourselves.
Yeah. It's one of many things that are going around.
This March and Pussy Hat Project are both part of the process of engaging politically, showing up in ways that feel right for us, and inspiring people who have felt invisible be visible, and for people who have felt voiceless, make their voices and their votes heard.
You do know the video monitor here.
You have the power to make change, even if you have been told you don't. While you find your space here, help others find their spaces too.
Thank you.
Let's build on this momentum with inclusivity, compassion, connection, and open dialogue. We may not share all the same opinions or experiences, and that's a beautiful thing. It's not to be feared, it's to be embraced. together, we are part of this incredible collective that fundamentally believes that women's rights are human rights. The government may be shut down, but we are not. Speak up, listen up, show up today, tomorrow, with your voice, your knitting needles, and your presence at the polls, at the ballots, in your community, and in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. No rally would be truly complete without artists showing up and giving of themselves to open our hearts and our minds to the message. Please welcome Emiko to sing I Believe You.
Good morning, Los Angeles! How are we feeling this morning? You ready? Are you ready to march? Are you ready to vote? Are you ready to change? I am from the I Believe You Project for every woman, child, and man who has ever experienced sexual violence and has told the story and has not been believed. I am here, we are here to tell you, we believe you, we love you, and we are with you. We gonna burn it